Hi guys, how are you doing? And welcome to my first ever FAQ. That's why it's called FAQ 1. There's going to be more of these if you guys like them. Any questions that you have that you want me to answer, whether it's about EVH Jackson or about me or whatever, bob it down there in the comments now. This is the place we're going to do it. Now, this FAQ is a special treat for you guys because I have got some of my awesome YouTube buddies to read out some of your questions. And I don't know whether I'll be able to continue getting people involved, obviously, because they're all busy people to read out your questions, but I am hoping, definitely, I need badly Ryan Bruce to be on this channel to read a question out, even if he just doesn't, maybe even if he doesn't read the question and he just goes, "Next question, next question." You know that thing what he does? Well, that was actually higher than his voice, but anyway, even if he just does that, I'm okay with that. But it would be cool to get him on the channel because he's the guy that started all these FAQs for guitarists. So let's start with the first question. And this question is read out by a good friend of mine. He's only just got into the YouTube game. Great guitarist, has some great tones, has tons of amps. Like, it's got virtually every amp you could possibly think of. I don't know where he's getting the money from to buy them. His name is Kyle Bull. The link to Kyle Bull's channel will be in the description below. Check out his videos. If you like my videos, you'll probably like his, probably even more, because he does tons of videos. Like, he's doing one nearly every day. I don't know how he's getting the time to do it. But he's a cool guy, very funny, and hopefully soon we're going to do a Zoom thing where me and Kyle are going to have a little chat to each other, and we're going to put it out there, and he's going to put it on his channel, I'm going to put it on mine, and it will be interesting to see what we talk about. We do talk about some things privately between each other on Messenger that I think you guys might be interested in. Anyway, let's look at the question that Kyle's got for me.
What's up, guys? Kyle here again, and today... Wait a minute. This isn't my video. What's up, guys? Neo here again, obviously, and today I'm going to answer your questions. Question number 1 comes from Guitars of Cow and Chicken. Are you self-taught or schooled, i.e., this is just me, but when I was a kid back in '91, I went to Berkeley for 2 years to study? That's sort of a question. Have fun.
I love Kyle. He's got a cool accent as well. Right, so thanks, Cow and Chicken. I basically had a guitar hanging around the house from the age of, as long as I can remember. Nobody in my family played it, but I was always interested in guitar. And when I got to about 15 years old, my friend bought a guitar too. His was much better than mine. His was £89 and it was a Hondo Les Paul copy in bright orange, which actually sounds really cool. I won't mind that. See if I can get hold of one of those now. My guitar that I bought was a Hondo for £69 because I didn't have as much money, and it was like a Hank Marvin type Strat Red with a white scratch plate. I was into Iron Maiden back then, so that was acceptable to be playing metal on it. We couldn't tune and we couldn't play them, but I was making up little melodies and stuff, and I seemed to somehow know. I held the plectrum okay right from the beginning, and could fret notes with maybe 2 fingers and move around okay, even though I didn't know what to do. Then when we got to like the last year of high school, my friend arrived one day and he said, guess what, I'm going to start having guitar lessons, and they cost £5 an hour. And I was insanely jealous actually, and worried that my friend was just going to leave me behind. And he learned how to tune a guitar, he taught me how to tune the guitar. And because he was such an awesome friend, what he started doing was all the tab that he was getting given by his teacher to learn, which was just basic stuff, he was bringing home and showing me what to do and how to read the tab. So in the end, anyway, I got a paper round. That was £5 a week. That just covered the guitar lessons. And I went for about 6 months, and I managed to learn a power chord, a hammer on, what sweeping was, you know, all the basic skills that you need. So I had all the tools, but I didn't really have anything else, and I'd learnt little intros, bits of Seek and Destroy was one that sticks in my mind by Metallica. So I had the tools after 6 months to go, and I left. I ditched it. I didn't have any more lessons, and I ended up then just kind of teaching myself and making up my own tunes. Then when I left school, I figured that going and playing guitar was way more cool than like doing joinery or being an electrician and all that stuff. So I went to music college, and when I got to music college, it was a huge disaster, to be honest. Everybody could read music who was there to some degree. I could just about read tab. there were a lot of great guitarists sat around. I'm still friends with some of them now, especially in the year above. And it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to be sat around learning guitar and learning how to become better musicians. Unfortunately, I don't think the teachers were very good. In fact, they were awful because didn't teach me anything all the time I was there. In the practical exam, I sat and I played pretty well. I can even remember the piece actually that I played back then. And when I stood up, I had a Tokai then, a Tokai Strat copy. And when I stood up to leave, I says, "How did I do?" to the examiner. And he said, "You did really well. You're a good player," which I probably wasn't, but he thought I was. Maybe he was lying to make me feel good, I don't know. But when I was leaving, he said, "But I'll tell you something, lad. You need a new guitar. Your guitar's crap." That did everything it needed to do for me to just leave. So I left the course, and I think I only did a year there. I learned nothing. And then ever since then, I've just been in bands, and I've kind of found my own way around the fretboard to some extent. I'm a bit more knowledgeable of the fretboard now, and some messages are coming up, and probably another question. That's basically it. A bit of a life story, mainly self-taught, but all the basics, like this is a power chord, this is a major scale, this is a minor scale, this is a blues scale, hammer-ons are this, sweep picking is that. That's about it. That's all I had, and then I just taught myself from there. But it was a good starting point, and I've done all right. So next question is going to be read out by somebody who this channel would probably not even exist if it wasn't for people like Ryan Bruce and KillerToneTexas. This next question is going to be read out by Jason KillerToneTexas, and I am massively humbled, shocked, and honoured that he did it, because like I say, this channel wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. I was looking for a guitarist on YouTube to watch back in the day when everybody was doing this djenty style, this new style that I didn't like. And I was looking for someone who just played great riffs through a loud amp. That's all I wanted. And he did that. And I kind of really based my channel in the early days, if you go back to the terrible videos, what were filmed in the dark in a rehearsal room and stuff. It was influenced by him quite largely, and obviously Fluff too. And yeah, it's a massive thing to have him on the channel, and thank you very much, Jason. Let's see what question he's got. His question is actually from a friend of mine that makes pedals, Goliath Studios. That link will also be down in the description, and I know that Goliath Studios will be massively happy that Jason has read their question out.
What's up, everybody? Jason from Killertone, Texas here, and Goliath Studios asks, "Hey man, how do you stay motivated to produce regular content?" Take it away, Neil.
Okay, so this is a perfect time to answer this question, and I also, huge thanks to Goliath Studios for asking the question. I know the guy at Goliath Studios. Hi there, and yeah, he will be very happy that Jason read his question out. But to answer the question, staying motivated to make the content is super hard, and it's harder now than it ever has been, because now you can't just do one video a week. For basically 3 years, I did one video a week. And in the middle of that, I had 6 months off because YouTube changed the way that their system worked, and it hit my channel massively. I was going to bed, waking up to 180, 200 views, and when they changed everything, I was waking up to 80. So I stopped. I got the monk on, and I stopped. And after 6 months off, it was like starting again from scratch. There was a few subscribers there that were still there. I did lose a few hundred subs, but I've crawled that back now. My views obviously were back down to like 10 a day, and I wasn't uploading enough videos. And like I say, now you need to do 3. You can get away with 2, but 3 videos for anybody that's trying to start a channel. 3 videos a week is where you need to be at. That's it. Next question. So this question is read out by a good friend of mine whose channel is massive now. It's growing and growing. There's a lot of live videos. I try and tune into as many live videos as I can, not just to help him out because he's a friend, but also because I actually enjoy watching him. He puts a headset on and he just jams to loads of songs, you know, famous metal tunes, and he's jamming along, and somehow he actually talks to you and answers your comments while he's playing, which is a skill. Hot coffee's made my eyes water. That's a skill within itself. That's very impressive. But the guy knows that many covers, and the first time I started watching his channel, which was many years ago, I just couldn't believe how many covers he knew. Like, he's the total opposite of me. Like, I don't like doing covers, and I've never known very many covers. And he has his catalogue of covers. He just knows millions of songs. He's so annoying. I love him, but I kind of hate him because he's everything that I am not, I guess. And his channel is everything I am not as well. And maybe that's why he's doing so well. I think he's getting near to 100k subs. So the next guy is Jamie Slays, good friend of mine. Check his channel out. The link will be in the description. Let's see what question he has for me. It's a long question, this one, from what I can remember.
Hey guys, it's James Slays, and I'm reading out a question from Paul Puckshiver. He says, hello, love your videos, and I'm a big EVH fan for the 5150 new heads. I own the 6L6, I love it. I'm an EL34 guy, but I dig the 6L6. Do you think changing the tubes to EL34 takes away from the amp's tone based upon its original 6L6? I love playing heavy. Any recommended settings? Or what do you think, Neil?
So that's Jamie. I gave that question to him on purpose because I wanted to see him struggle to pronounce the name, and he didn't. I think he's cheated. I think he's put it in Google and worked out how to pronounce the name because he pulled that off pretty convincingly. I'm really annoyed that he's not only has he got a bigger channel, but he's bloody. He can pronounce that name. I can't believe it. He can't put a foot wrong, that guy. Anyway, so yeah, to answer the question, this is a hard one to answer. So first of all, if we're talking about EVHs, they're all voiced differently. So it doesn't matter really what power tubes are in them. Every head has a different voicing of the preamp. Now, don't get me wrong, I did notice when I recorded them that the EL34 LBX1, the EL34 50-watt mini, and the EL34 100S down there all had a similar characteristics. But whether those are a result of EVH voicing the preamp that way to make a bigger difference between the 6L6, I don't know. The reds are all quite similar. The blues mainly are completely different, and it is definitely a voicing, a preamp voice that makes them different. You can't just bob in EL34s into a 6L6 amp unless it says on the back and there's a switch to switch over, and you could, like, I had a Messer once and I changed it to EL34s, and you flick over the switch on the back. So that is a mod really that you can probably get done on any amp, but yeah, I don't know. The answer to the question is a weird one. I ignore power amp tubes quite a lot now because I used to consider myself an EL34 guy, because back in the day in the UK we only had Marshalls. Marshalls were the best amps. Marshall were good amps. PV and Messer and stuff like that, they didn't come over here for years, so we were all playing Marshall, Cadbury Marshall heads. If you couldn't afford a JCM 800 or couldn't get hold of one, then you'd play a Valve State or something, and that's all there was over here. So I assumed from that I was an EL34 guy, quite wrongly. And then when Messer and PV crept over, and Engel for that matter, and we started dabbling with those amps, I started thinking, oh, wait a minute, I'm not an EL34 guy at all, I'm a 6L6 guy. Now, this was a bit naive of me because, you know, a good amp is a good amp, and if it sounds right and feels right to you, it doesn't matter really what power amp tubes are in there. There's EL34 amps that I love, and there's 6L6 amps that I love, and usually it's the preamp voice and the cab that you use with it that makes the most difference, and the mic. My EL34 EVHs on the red channel tend to have a bit more attack, high-end attack. Like if you're palm muting, the attack is more high and it jumps out of a mix a bit better. And they also have a bit more of a low end, a bit more saggy low end. The 606s are a bit smoother for me. This is the red channels I'm talking about. On the blues, they're just that different voiced. They're just that differently voiced from one amp to the other. I can't really say. So yeah, basically, if we're talking about just EVHs, they're totally differently voiced amps, and it's how they choose to voice them more than what power tubes they put in them, really. settings for the other part of your question. Just moving around. So they're behind me, but that doesn't mean that I leave them like that all the time. One thing is with EVHs, there's a sweet spot on all of them. Even though they're differently voiced, the sweet spots do not change per amp, and all good amps have sweet spots on the dial. You just got to find them, and the best way for me is hitting a chord and you turn the dial slow and you can find certain sweet spots. I always start with my EVHs on more or less 666 on the EQ, and I just take or give a bit from there. I've not got, apart from the EL34 blue channel, that needs extreme dialing. The other amps don't need that much dialing in from the middle position, as you can see. But if I change tunings as well, that might affect, especially the stealth, both stealths, that might affect the way I have them dialed in. So I hope that answers your question. Sorry it's a bit long-winded, but yeah, that's it basically. Thanks for joining me on my FAQ number 1. I'll try and do another one. Please put your questions down below in the comments. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you enjoyed it or not, if you want me to do another one. Because if no one's bothered, then there's no point doing them. Thank you very much, and a huge thanks to all the guys, YouTube buddies and friends that are absolutely awesome, that put the time in to recording the questions for me. And for any of you that wondered why this took so long to do, it's Kyle Bull's fault. See you soon.